At RANE, we've launched significant upgrades to our risk intelligence platform for enterprises. We'll take a look at our core intelligence product, which is designed to identify, manage, and mitigate operational risk across the areas of geopolitics, compliance, security, and cyber. First off, with our connected risk relationship map, we see the content, whether it's based on a geography or a topic that we've been covering most recently. This pulls from all content that we ingest and publish as a company, whether that's open source intelligence, proprietary analysis, or different events that we produce. And the size of the dot or the bubble is indicative of the volume. In this case, you can see the United States is larger, 70 articles across those different content types this week. And content that relates, if it has a tag or is associated with the United States and Iran, as an example, 15 articles, it will highlight the relationships between other countries or topics. It also gives us a pathway to explore those relationships or the content covered in more detail. Everything here in the core intelligence product goes back to, hinges upon our unified search. But we have the ability to filter this even further. If we're just interested in content related to these two countries that's associated with geopolitics, we can click on that risk type, or we can do so by content types, analysis, forecasts, just the open source intelligence, or events. There's other ways to help us filter and hone in on the issues that are of most interest to our organization or in our workflow. One is the volume of content. So as an indicator of volatility or relevance of these countries or topics, and we highlight significant developments highlighted by our own monitoring team for relevance. Also, the ability to explore even further. Out of all of the content on the left panel that's related to those two countries, the top being related to politics versus market and economics. So there's different ways to filter and shortcut to even more subtopics of relevance based on your search queries. Also, based on what we're looking at, the United States, other countries are also relevant and highlighted in that coverage: China, Israel, Russia. So an additional filtering tool to shortcut to your interests. If we go back to the home page, below the relationship map, we have the ability to explore recent coverage across these different categories as a highlight, an opportunity to explore in more depth. So you can scroll here, see recent analysis across these different categories, along with highlights of open source information, additional analysis, forecasts, and events. The 4 different content types that you'll see all of our content is organized in. If we're interested in one of these topics or any in more detail, we have the ability to explore based on the landing page. Each landing page, and this will be the same for compliance, security, and cyber, as you can see. But if we go back to geopolitics, for example, purposes, we'll see the most recent featured analysis. But based on the taxonomy that we maintain at RANE, based on the subjects or the risk categories, all of our content is tagged with. It further enables us to hone in and shortcut to the subject matter that's relevant to our organization or our research of the day. So out of the broad realm of geopolitics, you may be interested in geopolitical coverage that's more tied to military conflict versus market and economics. Clicking on any one of these will take us to the unified search page and give us the ability to explore as we just covered. Otherwise, the content is also organized by intent or use case. First and foremost is that open source intelligence that lets us know what's happening most recently. Next, the analysis, which stresses why it matters. This is the proprietary analytical content that our team is producing. In this case, because I'm looking at a core intelligence entitlement only, there is some content for your awareness that is exclusive to our enterprise levels of geopolitical, and the same would go for security intelligence as well. If that content, those subject matters are of interest to you, if it does happen to be grayed out, you can always raise a hand, click upgrade, talk to an account manager to learn more about that. Along with the forecast, the look forward, how we see the geopolitical environment evolving over the next year, the next quarter. But otherwise, all events across different risk categories are available to us. If we click on any one of these, we'll go to those content pages in more detail. In this case, it happens to be a webinar that's upcoming. You have the ability to register and see the insights both by our own RANE team members, but also from the experts within RANE's expert network. So again, similar structure across all these different pages. If we focus in on an analysis, just so you can see the structure of those pages, focusing on the topic, the title of relevance, and giving that context, the insights behind this issue, how we see this impacting the global business environment or certain companies or trades and industries in particular. So that can support your strategic planning, your risk mitigation efforts. Going back to the homepage, you'll see to support your situational awareness each day as a pathway to our risk briefs, we do promote and highlight the risk book. The risk book, the intent of which is to highlight the key issues that are taking place around the world across the 4 main subjects or risk categories that we cover as a company. There's some visualizations at the top. The bubbles are relevant to the countries that are highlighted within the open source. In this case, on the risk book, the size of the bubble similar to the relationship map on the homepage, indicative of that volume. We do stress the significant developments as an executive summary or key takeaways. And based on our system of taxonomy tagging, out of all the risks, these are the top 5 that are covered. If we scroll down, though, we see the risk book in detail. So in this case, our team is monitoring global intelligence coverage across legal, regulatory compliance, cyber information, geopolitical, and safety and security issues. These are the key issues that you as a global business leader should be paying attention to and serve as prompts for further action. This is a pathway to our risk briefs page. So we're on looking at the risk book. Otherwise, whether we're filtering here or you can also get here through briefs on the navigation menu, we can go to other briefs, whether they are thematic in nature, like the cyber, ESG, financial crime, or they are geographic, a digest on the Middle East, Latin America, Europe. Clicking any one of these will get to those other briefs, some of which have executive summaries written by our team. And then you'll see the feed of open source, the summaries that are provided. Other use cases within the core intelligence platform, I mentioned access to our events, seeing what your peers or subject matter experts within geopolitics, compliance, security, and cyber are saying about relevant topics to inform your business decisions and awareness. All of those are located here. The next is the Global Country Risk Index. This supports the use case of country risk assessments and benchmarking. We monitor and follow many different categories of risk or different types of indices and benchmarks of risks produced around the world. We have our own proprietary system in which we aggregate that and normalize it to produce a rank and a score for a variety of different categories across enterprise risk, as you see here. If any one of these ranks or scores across the categories updates, it rolls up to the country as well. So this informs your understanding of overall country risks for those countries in which you are operating in, or perhaps you are looking to assess new markets to venture into. It serves as a baseline indicator of risk to help inform those business calculations. We are very transparent with the sources to lend to the veracity and legitimacy of all of this data, as it is intended to be incorporated into your own workflows. So there's a description of how we classify each risk category and pathways to those original sources as well. As RANE's intelligence analysis and forecasting is supplemented with the insights from our expert network, we do shine a light there on that background. There's also pathways to connect to our team, or perhaps you're looking to be connected to subject matters within these different categories. We do highlight the opportunities there for your awareness. And the last key feature of the core intelligence platform is the risk tracker. The risk tracker assesses the likelihood and vulnerability at large of global organizations and their ability to be prepared for these different types of risks across the globe in different categories, whether it's China, cyber IT relations, cyber threats, deglobalization, etc. Our team is collecting open source information empowered by our taxonomy. So in this case, looking at cyber threats, our analyst team would be tracking those insights. As there are notable events, if either the likelihood of this becoming a greater risk increases, or if we see that global businesses are becoming more vulnerable to cyber threats in this case, our analysts would provide context on that. At the very least, we evaluate these monthly. So we see the recent coverage that ties to the topic, but there's also a historical archive of all of those analytical updates. And if we click back on the map, we see how that fluctuates in a visual format month over month. Going back to the homepage in summary, the intent of the core intelligence platform is to provide situational awareness through the form of open source intelligence, analytical context via our different analytical content types, and abilities to engage with our team across geopolitics, compliance, security, and cyber. For any more information, please feel free to reach out and contact us at the following link.